Alright, in this assignment we are going to be learning about a form of an equation called slope-intercept form. And it's a certain way we write an equation that makes it easy to graph, easy to talk about what it means. So for right now, here's what you need to know. This number here, the b, is called the y-intercept. Whatever number's in that position, so like if that's a 3, the y-intercept is 3. If that says minus 3, the y-intercept is negative 3. And then this number we know, m always represents slope. We saw that in the slope formula. So when we have an equation that looks like this, then we can see right in the equation what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. So, for example, if we have an equation like y equals 5x minus 7. If we have an equation that says y equals 5x minus 7, we can identify from that equation what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. And that's going to be important because those are the two pieces of information we need to graph a line. So in this equation, to find the slope, I'm looking what number is being multiplied by x, right? Slope is the number that's being multiplied by x. So in this case, it's 5. And the y-intercept is the number that's being added to x. So in this case, it says minus 7. So that means the y-intercept is negative 7, right? This is the same as plus negative 7. So the y-intercept here is negative 7. Okay, and that's really it. You just, this number that's here, sometimes it'll be a fraction, sometimes it'll be negative. That's the slope. This number that's here, sometimes it'll be positive, sometimes negative, very rarely a fraction. That's the y-intercept. Okay, and then there's just a couple things to look out for. If I have, for example, this, okay, the rules still apply. The slope is the number that's being multiplied by x. So what is this number being multiplied by x? That's an invisible negative 1, right? In this case, it's negative. Let's say there was nothing there, not even a negative sign, then it would just be 1. But in this case, it's positive. It's negative 1 because there's a negative sign. And the y-intercept is 4. What about this? What's the number being multiplied by x? 1/2. Okay, and slopes are frequently fractions, right? We know that because we know slopes are often rise over run. Okay, but what's the y-intercept here if it's not written? What's invisible here is a plus 0, right? Because if I have a plus 0, I don't write plus 0. I'm not like walking around like, hey, guess what? So-and-so gave me 0 cookies today, right? Like we don't talk about it. Because when we add 0, it doesn't actually change anything. But here the y-intercept is 0. Okay, and we can go the other direction too. Like what if I told you, okay, my slope is 4/7 and my y-intercept is negative 3. What if I told you that? You could go the other way too, right? You could go from this information to an equation. You would write y equals m, 4/7, x plus b. Right? So it can go the other way too. What if you had, what if I told you, okay, the slope is 5, or let's say negative 5, and then the y-intercept is 0. What would that look like? That would be y equals, okay, the slope is negative 5, so negative 5x. And then let's say you were like, okay, plus 0. You'd be like, wait a second. And you'd erase it. Okay, you don't need to write the plus 0. You just don't need to write it. What if the slope was 1 and the y-intercept was 7? You write y equals, the slope is 1, 1x plus 7. Just like the writing the plus 0, you don't need to write times 1. So you'd write it like this, okay? It's not really like, it's not wrong to write this plus 0 here, mathematically, but it's like, I don't know, just looks silly. Looks like you don't know what you're doing, right? So you're gonna practice this. You're gonna do both. You're gonna look at an equation and decide what the slope and y-intercept are, and you're gonna look at the slope and y-intercept and you're gonna decide what the equation is. And there's no need to write anything for the practice problems. You can just do them right on the screen and there's no need to write anything down.